Hi, this is Martin Van Buren from Getting Stuff Done, and today we're going to talk about your first mow after you've overseeded and leveled your lawn. You want it to look like that. Let's jump straight in. In the last series, you can check out how to overseed and level your garden. Right, the first question is always, when is it the right time to start mowing? So there's going to be a couple of factors here. The first thing is we'll talk about the length of the grass. So ideally, you're looking for a length of about 7 to 9 centimeters. So you're looking for about 3.5 inches for length of the new seedlings before you start mowing. And the reason there is you want the new seedlings to be established enough so that when you're mowing, it doesn't just rip out the new seedlings and undo all of your work. So there's another test you can do, is what you can do is, if this is the older grass here, it's got quite a nice length on there. The newer grass is down here. You can just grab some of that, give it a little tug, and there should be a little bit of resistance. It shouldn't just pull straight out. The reason you want that resistance there is that it means the roots have grown down deep enough to actually establish the plant a little bit more and give it more of a chance of survival. If you grab some of the new seeds and you give them a little tug, but if it is not really coming up straight away, it's not going to be sucked up by the mower, you're probably good to start mowing. Right, so we can see this grass that we have top dressed, overseeded and leveled has come out really nicely. The old patch is blended in quite nicely with a new patch here. Most of the channel that used to be in the middle here where we dropped in the pop-up sprinklers is gone. The length here is really, really good. We can see this is actually getting really, really long for a cut. Beautiful little flowers along the side. Other thing also is you don't want to leave it too late. So for example, at the back here, just as long as that, because the older grass will start just sort of overgrowing the newer grass and killing that off. So you don't want to leave it too late as well. The other factor as well is probably the environment. You don't want it to be too hot or too cold, and you don't want to mow when it's very, very wet, because it's just gonna be very mulchy and you've got more chance of pulling the seeds out. So what I suggest is let your grass dry a little bit, and just before you do your watering is probably a good time to start cutting or mowing your lawn. Right, next thing then is the length that you want to be cutting. So if we look at these lengths here, there's a rule of a third where you probably never want to take more than a third off your grass. And the reason there is really, if this blade of grass is an example, most of the broadness is sitting at the top here. And this blade really is what produces all of the food and stuff that feeds the rest of the plant. If I'm going to cut a lot of that off, you're going to really stress the plant. And also the blades is what produces shade that traps in the moisture for that. So you just lessen the chance of the new seedlings to be able to become more established. So I'm probably going to set, what I'll do here is I'll set my mower to the higher setting, and you're probably looking to just chop off 20% of the blade just to give it that initial trim. It'll kind of trim off this very long old grass, maybe nip off about 20%, but no more than a third, and give the new seedlings, and that should give a nice cut for the first mow. Next question then is also whether you bag or whether you bag the clippings or whether you leave that. Now generally it's probably better to bag the clippings for new seedlings. If it was an established lawn, I would leave, because that breaks down and it produces compost and nutrients and things that feeds the lawn and just goes back into the system. So I wouldn't bother if it was established lawn, I wouldn't bother picking the clippings up. On new seedlings, it's probably better to pick the clippings up, because otherwise you've got a layer of dead material sitting on top of your seedlings that's got more of a chance of killing off your seedlings. What I would probably do with this is I'm actually going to grab the first cut just up and down without the bag, see how much material is left, and then I'll make a call as to whether I cut this with or without the bag. Right, one more tip then is when you do your first cut, that is a great time to sharpen your blade. So what you don't want to do is when you're cutting your blades, if you're going to be cutting with a blunt blade on your mower, all it's going to do is it's actually going to end up ripping the blade as opposed to just giving it a nice clean slide through. So it creates a very jagged edge. That means there's more chance of the blades actually getting diseased or becoming brown there. You want a nice sharp blade, and also if it's very blunt, it's got more chance of actually ripping out the grass as opposed to just sliding through the blade and giving you that nice clean cut. Right, one more little thing is when you are taking your blade out to have it sharpened, it's probably a good idea to just pull the spark plug out. Instead of tilting your mower sideways, actually tilt your mower backwards so the nose lifts up and you've got access underneath it, to remove the blade. It also means the oil and petrol doesn't run out like when you turn it sideways. Right, just another tip is when you're actually mowing your lawn and you get to the edges to turn your mower, maybe just take a slightly wider arc rather than turning too sharply, which will sort of turn on the ground and actually damage the seedlings or potentially pull them out. So if you've got patio area or a pathway, it's probably better to try and turn on there before heading back with your mower. Even if you maybe overlap your mowing so that you do every other row before heading back with your mower. So it's time to get cutting. Let's get this done. Right, now that we got that done, got our first cut done, all left to do is pop on the pump and let the sprinklers do the rest. Check out the video of how to install pop-up sprinklers and irrigation. One more thing is the watering actually. Let's keep watering. You should really be watering every day and actually giving it a little bit of time for the water to go a bit deeper because you want the roots to grow down further. You don't just want to sort of have everything on the surface. I haven't been watering enough here because we're building a new cabin which will run, all of that water will run into a big 3,400 litre water tank, and you can check that of how to set up a system like that with pop-up sprinklers. My tank is empty at the moment because we haven't finished the cabin, so I don't have enough water, so I'm going to actually run some mains water in there, fill up my tank and get watering. Once you've given it your first mow, make sure you give it a good watering, and then you probably just want to gradually give it maybe a little week or two rest after you've given it that first cut, and then just gradually work it down until you get to your normal cutting height. Also, when you cut the next one, make sure you change the direction because you don't want all of your grass growing in the same direction. So if you're cutting, let's say left to right one stage, you want to go diagonally, maybe cut the other way the next time so that the blades are growing in different directions, not just all being sort of growing in one direction. Right, that's everything I got for you today. If this video was helpful today, give us a like, drop us a comment if this was helpful, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's everything I got for you today. Give it a go. See you next time. Bye.